Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Health Talk. I'm your host, Dr. Niru Prasad, with my background in pediatrics and emergency medicine, affiliated with Henry Ford Health System, St. Joe, Oakland, and Beaumont. The theme of our health talk today is back to school safety. Joining us today as our guest speaker is Liza Raymond. She is a family practice nurse practitioner with St. Joe Health System, Oakland, and she is also with behavioral health urgent care set up by the Common Ground. She's going to talk about some of the aspects of back to school safety for our children and more. Good morning, Liza, and welcome to my show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
I'm so happy to have you today because this is about time the schools are going to open, and parents, they want to know how they should prepare their children for the school opening and all that. Before we get started, can you give your introduction to our viewers?
Of course. So I'm a family nurse practitioner and also a psych mental health board, mental health practitioner board eligible. And I've been working in family practice for quite some time.
Okay.
And now behavioral health as well. So I'm very excited to talk about back to school because that's always such an exciting time and stressful time for the students with all this change.
Exactly, yeah. And you are with the behavioral health urgent care, and this is your
Yes,
your website. You probably gave it to our producer, right?
we're very excited to be
Yeah.
able to have a behavioral health urgent care
Yes,
that's
yes.
available to anyone over 18 or over in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
So you can be anywhere, even in a remote area,
Yeah.
and contact us by telephone or computer, and we'll get you logged on for a face-to-face visit with up to an hour with a clinical therapist who's at least master's prepared,
Okay.
and then also with a nurse practitioner who's able to
Yeah.
evaluate and prescribe as needed, and then refer on to continuing care.
So this is very good, because you are like a first-hand responder for our children, especially those who have some issues, But right now we just want to talk something about, now for the parents, caretakers, what to know, how should they prepare their children for the school opening.
Yes, preparing for school is exciting and stressful at times, especially if we wait till the end. So definitely preparing early, making an appointment with your pediatrician for physical and immunizations up to date, and sports physical. If you bring your sports physical form to your annual exam and get that completed, there's no scrambling at the last minute before tryouts tomorrow.
Right,
and
yeah.
so that's all set. And then you'll have your sports physical already. And then, of course, April 15th, we know April 15th, we need another sports physical for the year. So those are ways to get ready to go back to school, getting your clothes ready, preparing your students, your children mentally for what to expect, especially preschoolers and kindergarteners and those changing from elementary to middle and middle to high school.
Those are the hardest period, isn't it, for those kids? Make sure they get enough sleep a week before. What do you think?
Yes, lots of enough sleep and getting used to waking up at the time they'll wake up for school, and having a good breakfast in the morning, and then on the days of school wearing layered clothing because we know we have cold mornings and warm afternoons, so layers that they can take off as the day gets warmer. And if children are riding the bus, teach them about how to behave on the bus.
Right.
And also it's a good idea to wear bright colors so that they're visible, to drivers who may be texting or not paying attention to our children on the road.
And I also add to it, Liza, 3L, light, loose, and layered.
Yes.
If the parents can remember. Right?
Light clothes and layered.
Layered, right. That is very good. There is so much big protocols given by American Academy of Pediatrics on the safety and all that. So anybody can log in, and I have prepared a big webinar on this also, and I've given a lot of bibliographies, all the sites they can go to. So now, can you please comment some on the backpacks?
So backpacks, sometimes we see students burdened down by heavy backpacks.
Right, yeah.
But we recommend, yes, we recommend that the backpack be no more than 10 to 20% of the child's body weight, unless if there's any musculoskeletal or health problems that would limit the backpack even further.
Right, yeah. They should be measured to their shoulder, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, Liza, some of the children, like they have some ADHD, and they are like, especially the elementary ones going to middle school. So can you comment on those?
Yes, so ADHD, we have to view it as a chronic illness.
Right.
And like any other chronic illness, we need to take medicine every day. And so that means taking medicine every day on the school days and on the weekends and holidays. This helps the students deal with the stressors of just life and interacting with siblings and parents so that they don't have or become labeled with behavioral issues.
Right, yeah. So that's good, yeah, because I was thinking about raising this issue. And could you tell us about sports physicals?
So sports physicals, yes, it's great to incorporate the sports physical with your annual physical.
Yeah.
So I'd highly recommend that you bring your school's sport physical form when you come to see the doctor for your annual exam, because it's easy to get it filled out at that time when you're getting a full physical. And if you need any referrals or clearances, perhaps cardiology or something, you can get that done in a timely manner before your sports physical is due.
I remember, Liza, working at the urgent care. Pediatrics office, it was okay, everybody was scheduled. But the last minute, they will bring the sports physical. Can you fill it up? It's very hard because you have to, in order to fill up, give your signature, you have to know they are okay cardiac-wise, mental-wise.
Yes.
So for the sake of the viewers to know, sports physical and the regular physical should be planned ahead of time for the doctors, to go through all of them.
Yes, it's so important for kids to be involved in activities, and if sports for many children is very valuable. So if they're able to get their physical and have that completed in advance so that they can participate, so that they don't miss out. And I always ask the kids, what are you going to play? And if they tell me one sport, I say, what are you going to play the other 2 seasons? Because a lot of other students are playing a sport all 3 seasons, and that keeps you in shape for when your season comes back around for your preferred sport.
Yeah, that is true. It's a good thing to ask them, because one is sports they might get fed up with, they want to switch to other. So that's a very good thing you raised. You are talking about the sports physical and the sports injury.
Yes.
Have to be ahead of time. Would you comment on the bicycle ride, helmets, and those things? Because a lot of kids are riding bike to school.
Yes, and we have to remember that different sports have different standards for physicals. Okay. So, for example, contact sports may have more stringent standards. So we need to prepare ahead of time and kind of have an idea of what we're going to play so that we meet criteria for those contact sports.
Yeah, and a few questions about crossing the road, when they are go on their way to school and all those?
Yes.
What is your opinion?
It's very good if they have crossing guard and they can make sure we cross at the light, watch the signals, respect the signals, watch out for other parents. In the mornings, people are rushing to drop children off from school and then get to work. So I teach the kids, watch out for the drivers. They might not always be watching out for you. Well, look both ways, hold hands, look for the crossing guard.
Yeah. And when you ride the bus, you have to be safe. Don't you start any argument with your friends and all that. What do you say about that?
Yes, that's
bullyism.
Yes.
Big chapter, I have written a lot of articles about the bullyism. They are all published here and there, so anybody can have access to them through YouTube or Vimeo.com.
Yes, and we know that bullying has such an impact on mental health, and many of our school shooters and things like this have been victims of bullying themselves.
Yeah.
And so they feel isolated, and then they reach out to have someone acknowledge them by doing these terrible things.
Yeah. So there is a lot of mental impact on these children, even when they are in kindergarten to middle school. Lot of impact, they see somebody hitting them or even if there's a domestic abuse and all that, everything is in their back of mind. And I'm so happy you are with Common Ground and you meet across all those people.
Yeah, I think if we remember to check in with our children, check in with them, see how it's going, ask about how they feel, about relationships with other friends. How do you feel after you spend time with that friend? We may get some insight into bullying, and sometimes I believe I've experienced, and many parents have told me, the boys aren't as likely to be forthcoming with information.
Yeah, so, they are more than the girls.
Yes.
They are more involved with the bullying than the girls, definitely. Yeah.
So being present for the boys and listening and just giving them space and being there so that when they're ready to talk and open up, they know someone's there that they can count on.
Yeah. So that reminds me of a story, my one of my grandson, he just started going to kindergarten. And at the bus stop, one kid was hitting him. So he comes back crying. So grandpa says, why did you come crying? You should also take the revenge, hit him back. So then he goes to his school, and then he had another fight with the same bullets. So he hit him back. So the teacher said, why did you hit him? He says, no, because my grandpa says that once you hit him back. And the kid was only 4.5. Oh. So, these are the back. I mean, for that age, since you are in mental health, you probably know their psychological feelings, right?
Yes.
They should not feel isolated. They should be able to defend themselves, right?
Yes, definitely. Sometimes when the kids are stressed out, we might see things, different things at different ages. For the little ones, it may be something like increased urination or bedwetting when they had previously been potty trained, or wetting or soiling their pants, or anger and aggression or acting out.
Yeah.
And even with the older kids, especially the boys, may be acting out more, being a little bit more aggressive and bullying because they're sad and they're suffering. And so getting them early intervention, reaching out to the pediatrician for guidance, and perhaps there's an underlying medical condition that we need to have evaluated, right?
Right, of course. Mm-hmm. And I always tell the parents, and when see them in the office practice of pediatrics, I said, watch out for obesity in your kid. Obesity leads to other complications like diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid disorder. So those are the things that should be nipped at the bud, right?
Yes.
What is your opinion about that perspective?
Yes, definitely. We see so much of that. And so early intervention, so if we're seeing weight gains or weight losses in our children, definitely we want to make an appointment with the pediatrician and go get evaluated.
Yeah, bulimia.
Yes, we do see so much of that.
Undernutrition, it leads to undernutrition.
And even with the boys, we are seeing a lot of eating disorder with the boys where traditionally you might have thought it was girls trying to keep up with body image with the magazines and whatnot. But we're seeing a lot of boys with eating disorders as well.
Yeah. And another thing, Liza, I don't want our listeners to get scared, but could you comment on some gun safety? Recently, all those things have happened.
Yes, even this morning, one of the news articles was very sad about a 5-year-old in Detroit with guns in the home. So definitely teaching our children about gun safety so that they can be safe themselves. Teaching them if they're with a friend or in school, if someone brings out a gun or they see a gun, they need to go tell a grown-up right away. Leave the situation, leave that gun and go tell a grown-up right away.
Right, yeah. Yeah, like if a sibling is hiding something, go ahead and tell.
Yes.
Don't just keep it a secret. You never know, all those incidents, sad things happen here in Michigan.
Yes, we should teach them that they shouldn't be afraid that their friend will get in trouble. Their friend won't get in trouble. We want to keep their friend safe.
Right.
So we want to make sure your friend doesn't get hurt. So we teach them it's okay to tell us.
Right, just go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
because so many things you read in the paper or even on the CNN, how the young shooters, shooting their parents out of arguments and this and that. There has been much more shooting recently, all over the United States. More than motor vehicle accidents killing these people, especially the teenagers.
Yes, we've seen so much increase in mental health and suicides and gun violence. And if we look at the last couple of years, students have been isolated, social events have been canceled, they've missed out on sports, they've missed out on school attendance,
and
interacting
depressed
with peers, and they're in front of a screen all day. They're not making meaningful human contacts. And the parents are stressed out as well. Parents have lost jobs and had so many situations, financial. So, all these stressors, it's just so important to check in with them. And if they're having thoughts of hurting themselves or others or just being sad or losing weight, to try to just get help early. Start off with your pediatrician or with the emergency room if you believe that we have an immediate
emergency room is a good place, because when I see those kids at the emergency room, the first thing it crosses my mind that you should be seen by the behavioral health services. So now, you got this new job assignment. Could you share some information with this, the Common Ground?
Yes. So Common Ground.
Urgent care.
So Common Ground has been in the Oakland County area for over 50 years, and we're very excited that we opened a behavioral health urgent care in the springtime.
It's great.
Yeah, so anybody 18 and over can go online and have a visit. That same day, we're open 7 days a week.
Okay.
We're only closed on the 6 major holidays, so you don't have to wait. You can get help today. And if you're not sure if you need help, or you can come and we can assess you and talk to you. So the people that we're seeing at urgent care are people that maybe they're not able to get an appointment with a psychiatrist for 3 months, or their doctor has retired. We know many doctors have retired during the pandemic.
Yes.
Maybe they've moved or lost their insurance, or they have an outstanding bill at their previous doctor and are unable to get an appointment until they're able to pay something. So many reasons why people would come to us.
So this is kind of non-profit, right?
Yes. It's
behavioral. Here it's like they don't need to pay. and then when somebody calls you, there will be a nurse who will answer the call, right?
Well, if you call the urgent care, you're going to speak to our manager. Who's
Okay, great.
Has a doctoral preparation in counseling, and she will connect you with our therapists who are all masters prepared. And so you'll speak, everybody that's involved in the urgent care has at least a master's degree. So you'll speak to a clinical counselor, and then you can have a psychiatric evaluation and treatment if needed. And then while we're on the phone with you, we'll send your prescriptions to the pharmacy.
Okay,
if it's indicated.
Some emergency medication,
yes,
like running short of their ADD medication, things like that.
So if you've run out of your medication,
if they are depressed. Okay.
Yes. So then, within an hour, probably you can just go to your pharmacy and pick up the medication. And if you are unable to see somebody, we're going to take care of you as a bridge until we get you connected with somebody who's going to have the ongoing care. The only thing I would mention is that currently we're not prescribing any controlled substances.
Of course.
We would refer you somewhere else.
Of course, yeah. Because usually, it's better to keep away from the controlled medication. I can do the license to do that, but I stay away from them.
Yes.
Because you don't know, all those things are happening. Overdose with fentanyl, with the narcan and everything.
Yes,
so, opioids.
Yes, I understand that now. I think before the pandemic, the deaths from opiates were on the rise, and they were at about 60,000 a year, which is consistent with our flu death in a terrible flu season.
Right.
Now they're at 100,000 a year. This is huge numbers. Huge numbers. So definitely, we're encouraging people to not have controlled substances, but for anyone with a controlled substance or substance use disorder, there's treatment for that. So if you're using substances and you would like to get off, you can walk into Common Ground 24 hours a day, and we can help you get into some program where you can get some medications or short stay in a hospital or a place where we can help you get off medications or get off medications that are harmful and move you on to medications that are going to reduce the harm reduction.
So that's very good, Liza. You guys are doing a wonderful job. And I believe you have a story to share with us. We have time about a 4-year-old niece.
Oh, yes. So, we all experience stress, and we all learn different techniques throughout life.
How to relieve.
Yes, and what do we do when we're stressed out? I don't remember what we were doing. We were playing. I must have said I was anxious or something. I don't remember, but she told me her technique, and she said, you know what I do if I get anxious? She said, I smell the flowers and I blow out the candles. And then she showed me, she goes, and through this technique that she's learned with breathing in the flowers, smell the flowers and blow out the candles, these are techniques we can teach to very young children, preschool age, school age children. And these are ancient techniques that we've known about for thousands of years, and we can put those in the words that children can understand so that they can help teach themselves how to manage those things.
So you know what that is, Liza? She's trying to teach us meditation. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, smell and then blow out. That's what she's trying to teach us, right?
Yes, meditation, mindfulness, being present, and always remembering that no matter what is going on, it's temporary. Even if it's wonderful, enjoy it while you can because it's not going to last. And if something is not so great, it's okay. Remember, it's temporary and it will end soon too.
That is great, yeah. So what do you have a last 1 minute question? What 1 minute say to share with our listeners?
I would say to reach out to people, check in with your kids. If your kids aren't opening up to you, reach out to the other moms, reach out to the aunts and uncles, to the grandparents, somebody who has a connection with your child that they feel comfortable talking to, and then through working with the other adults and getting more feedback on what your child is going through if they're not comfortable talking to you, you will all work together so that the child does not feel like they're alone.
So good. I like to thank you, Liza, to coming to my show. The title is Back to School Health Safety, and I like to thank our viewers for watching us today on the Health Talk. I like to thank our producer and the camera people. And until I see all of you again, have a very safe and a wonderful fall seasons with back to school safety to through our children. Thank you again.
Thank you.